April the 4th, 2022. Lawman has come. He's actually here right now. Hallelujah. Looks a lot better. Unfortunately, the neighborhood bullies are still at it. As you can see, they've left a signature car. And there's the abandoned one. 4-door abandoned. That's been there now for several weeks. Police aren't interested in it. Neither is the senior patrol unit that canvasses around here. They just drive right by it. Senior patrol number 19 actually sat right here in front of my house a little over a week ago, after 2 weeks of this car being here. Didn't get out, didn't investigate it, just gave a scowl, looked at me. Two senior citizen white men in senior citizen Chula Vista Patrol Unit car number 19. Number 19. And they just sat, scowled at me for like 5-10 minutes in front and drove off. Okay, now there was also a wire that was hanging very low that also got yanked off during the time. Here goes some more. These are the ones that like to take their plates off when they're circling the neighborhood. Bullies, though. And this is the stuff that has been a sequence of events that have been taking place since my mom passed away. And I was given at the church that I, at that time, and my sister Simone were going to Life Christian Center, a little bit of a warning. So I quit going to that church. I actually got a couple of flat tires right before I quit, so I was like, I can't afford this. That's when, after I stopped, all of the other stuff started going on, and of course, Brad Bickles, the property manager, and Miss Tammy Matthews were watching over this house. They sabotaged some of my equipment. They intentionally sabotaged my hot water heater. I told my son about that. I also told him, hey son, I repair hot water heaters. There was nothing wrong with that hot water heater, aside from the fact that they sprinkled some acid on it to cause it to leak. Other than that, the thermocouple in there was working fine. It was a perfectly good water heater. He said, prove it. The proof is, understanding now that the proof is this. I told him that my supplies and art supplies were also melted down. And they're actually still there. This occurred. I showed it to the other people here. This is what I was trying to tell your brother, how they sabotaged the hot water heater, but he refused to do anything, and he pretty much let them get away with stealing a perfectly functional water heater by sabotaging it. They also sabotaged my lawnmower, which I lent to them to use until the COVID shut down the man that they were picking up from the border to do my lawn. And at that point, they contracted somebody here in Chula Vista to do my lawn. Now, currently, the person doing my lawn has not been contracted through Brad Bickles, All Area Property Management, because he abandoned this place. And the way that he abandoned it wasn't even right. He never did a walkthrough upon the evacuation of the last tenants. Miss Tammy Matthews just happened to walk up to my door as I was going out, and she didn't know it. She was about to drop the tenants' keys in my mailbox and walk away, and I said, oh, hi, and she said, oh, well, you know, here you go. They never did the walkthrough. They never checked the place. They charged us for doing a remodel, and no remodel was done on this place. They ripped us off for equipment that they stole, and they overcharged us for a repair on the roof, approximately a little over $3,000, and they didn't do all the leaks. They were supposed to repair the leaks supposedly here in this house. So Brad Bickle's all area property management, they're a bunch of crooks. They're a bunch of crooks and gangsters. And he's an ex-police officer, so he gets away with his stuff. His dad's some now deceased famous war hero. So, you know, Mr. Bickles gets to do anything he wants, and nobody messes with big bad Brad Bickles. He's a thief, a con man, and a murderer. As far as I'm concerned, he probably murdered his secretary that they did this big news report about when he had his office, and somebody came in, supposedly her disgruntled husband, and shot her. No, she probably was about to say something, and they murdered that woman because it would have sent Brad and his entire establishment down the drain. So, yeah, I don't trust that man as far as I can spit. Nor do I trust the people who created this trust, who are still working for my son, which is the attorney, Stephen Bates, who continues to give my son directions on how to misuse his position as trustee. And he's basically setting my son up to take the fall ultimately at the end. And then this white man is going to throw his hands up and try to act like he had nothing to do with it, and let all of the murders, all of the negligence, all of the things that they set in place fall upon my son, which he deserves, and my nephew Anthony, which he deserves, because they actually were trying to work together to gouge this place, this trust, and this property out of every cent that they could, and cause this place to go into such financial despair that they can put it up on the market and then sell it really cheap. Because, you know, they've done taken everything they can out of it, and now they want to get this flipped on the market. This is why they murdered Trina. This is also why there were other people who screamed foul play, including me, with my mother's death. We told Eric about that too. He didn't listen. So, so much for these grandchildren who, oh my God, they were brought up so spoiled and undeserving. While me and my dad and actually Kevin worked for decades on the properties, not just this place. While my son sat up on his ass, didn't do nothing, wasn't even involved in the family real estate, business, and rentals. My sisters both were not involved. The only one physically hands-on was myself and Kevin. And we've been on this for decades. So, as I stated in a previous diary, when we first moved into this house, before my parents even stepped into it, it was definitely a fixer. We came in, me and Kevin, we put in floorboards. We prepped it for carpeting. We painted the entire place. As a matter of fact, this outer coating of blue used to be brown when we first bought it. The reason why it's this color, beautiful color blue, isn't just because of my dad, but my dad used Kevin's resources of the people he knew to get a good price on his roof work and on the painting and everything else too. So, you know, Kevin has been instrumental in helping us and protecting our property and helping us to gain value on our property. And Kevin never took payment for anything. He did it out of love. Pure love. Never took payment for anything. And neither did I. That's why my dad rewarded me with Naples Street, which ended up getting stolen from me by my lying, thieving son, Eric Troy Jackson. So yeah, these are the resident wicked ones in the neighborhood that want the house, these white people. And they have actually engaged some other gangs and gangsters and gangbangers of different ethnicities to help them. And they've got young and old. They've got these corrupt police on their side. They've got these corrupt, you know, racists that don't want black people here on their side, or even don't even want Hispanic people. They've got them all working together, you know. And then you've got your real estate flippers, because that's how they're making their money now. There's not enough land to go around, so they got to flip you into the grave and steal your land so that people around the world can come and live in this beautiful paradise. Well, this place is beautiful, but it is no paradise because it's surrounded by a bunch of wicked people who are involved in theft, crimes, and all kinds of things. I think there is a car trafficking thing being run right here, around here, and I believe that those police know it. And so do those senior police. But I think because they didn't do anything, for sure, especially the way that the senior police acted, and it was the second time the senior police came. The first one was a set, it was a white lady, an old white-haired Caucasian woman, and she had a Japanese name because she said she was married to a Japanese man. I don't know if it was Chow or Chu. And she was, you know, checking out my house. So I said, you know, hey, there's a car that was dropped off by this woman. It was like this really little old white lady who asked me. She stopped here at the corner and she asked, is this the corner of such and such? And I pointed, I said, yes, it is. And then she took off. It was a pewter car. So the next day, she comes back in the morning. I see that the car is now parked. Now, she took off, but in the morning I wake up and see she's parked the car right here by this here corner, right here at this post on this side. Can you see my finger? There we go. On this side of the street. And so then the next morning, the senior Chula Vista Police Patrol people happened to show up, the lady and the elderly man. And so they parked in front of my house. So I said, since they were staring at me, I waved at them. I said, hey, you know, there's this car that was dropped off suspiciously over there. So the senior lady got out. She went and checked the car. She didn't check the VIN number, mind you. She just checked the plates. You know, they put anybody's plates on the back.